for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete, I'm a verbal athlete. Deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building, my whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday to all of you out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday, and it is Feel Good Friday, of course. So y'all know I got to bring in my Feel Good partner, Big O. What up, Big O?
Trey Holiday.
Hey.
Once again, thank God it's Friday.
Yes, sir. We made it.
Man, it's a big news week right here in Seattle, all over the place, all kinds of news that's come out. But it is Friday, Feel Good Friday. We got some real serious headlines up front, but Feel Good Friday. We've also got some guests. The mayor and some council members announced where this ARPA money is going yesterday. So we got the wordy and nerdy Kevin Schofield to come break down all the numbers. You know what I'm saying? We're getting all the smoke screen out the way. We're gonna do that. And also, I'm very excited about this, Trey. We have Olia D'Alessandro. A lot of people don't know. That's our director extraordinaire. But she's also the lead singer of the Tres Leches band.
Yeah.
And so now there's a few people in the audience right now. It's like, oh, word? Oya. Like, you know, I mean, Oya does a lot, not only here, band, KEXP. Oya's going to join us. Big concert tomorrow at the Museum of Flight. So we'll discuss that as well.
Oh, so exciting. Y'all know I got to say, shout out to my Capricorn sister, Alia D'Alessandro, doing it all, wearing the multiple hats. I am so, so honored to be in the Capricorn family with you, girl.
Look at you. We always get ganged up on around here in December, January. Back to the formalities. Want to welcome everybody to the Morning Update Show and remind you right now is a perfect time to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people who you feel could appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Got to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over in Bellevue College. Also want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show as well as all of our other programming here at Converge Media anywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast. That's SoundCloud, which you see right there on the screen. I think we'll put the link in the comments, as well as Apple, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen in the podcast. Just go ahead and type in Converge Media Network. And as usual, passing on this information that the vaccinations, the big vaccination locations, the megadomes, they're gonna be closing. Looks like the second week in June. But right now, vaccinations are out there. They're free. Like I said, if someone's telling you to Cash App them or send them Venmo or PayPal for a vaccination, don't do it. And if someone's saying that they could deliver the vaccination to your house via mail, that's not it. Vaccinations are wide open and available here throughout the city of Seattle and King County. Man, just go to the city website or King County's website, and it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They're wrapping it up. A lot of folks have been getting vaccinated, utilizing that free vaccination opportunity. Folks coming from everywhere to really, hey, I don't want to have the appointment. There's an opportunity for you out there.
Yeah, I mean, in the city of Seattle and even King County Public Health, Seattle, King County, they've definitely made the vaccination readily available for people that are out there who want to be vaccinated. So, all right, jumping into the headlines, real big news. It broke at 11 a.m. yesterday, right when we went on air. Attorney General Bob Ferguson came with some charges against 3 officers involved in the death of Manuel Ellis. Here's a clip here from King 5 in which they spoke with Ellis family members yesterday.
Yes, Mark. So it was a very powerful moment today as we heard from the family of Manuel Ellis. They've been waiting 14 months for these charges, and I can tell you the entire room felt their strength and determination for justice. A family united with the knowledge that 3 Tacoma police officers are now charged, but their resolve for answers started the night Manuel Ellis died.
I'm going to tell you who I am. I am Manny's mom.
Ellis's mother, his sister and brother still mourning.
The last time I saw my brother was laying in a casket. It's the worst day of my life.
Oh my God, stop hitting him!
In March last year, Ellis was walking home after getting a snack when he encountered the police, something his sister Monet will never let go.
Where there was powdered raspberry-filled donuts and a water bottle on the scene. That's what my brother got killed for.
My heart is heavy.
Today, Ellis's family says they will keep asking for accountability as they did from the start.
It was us that demanded the governor to get Pierce County off of this investigation.
This is his work.
Ellis's mother taking a moment to tell us how her son will be remembered.
Manny was a drummer his whole life, from the time he was 3 years old. He was in the church, loving God, living right. Yeah, he made mistakes. I bet you y'all out there made mistakes too, though.
It's hard for me to be happy. It's hard for me to want to celebrate because of so many things that are still currently being overlooked.
This is about Manuel Elijah Ellis. This is his work. So help us with it.
You can really hear the conviction in everyone's voices. Ellis's mother telling us she believes her son's death has a purpose. It is very clear the family is doing everything it can to ensure law enforcement accountability to prevent this from ever happening again. Live in Tacoma, I'm Christine Pei, King 5 News.
Yeah, that is the direct sentiment here that I'm feeling. And in so many families who have lost loved ones to police brutality, I understand where you are coming from. You know, Manuel Ellis's mother has every right to say, look, we are going to continue to press for justice. And I love how his sister uplifted there that it was them who made sure that the governor understood Pierce County folks could not be a part of that investigation. So much of this stuff runs deep. It runs up the chain. We see it here in Seattle all the time. We were just talking about the commanders, that may have done this or that when it comes to protesters and releasing gas and all of this. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff runs deep. It is multi-layered. And I'm so thankful that the family was able to bring that sense of resilience and strength and persistence with this case to the rest of us, because that's what's really needed oftentimes. Oh, you just got to allow yourself to be involved in the process of seeking justice, period.
Right. And the kind of irony of it is that most people in Seattle were totally unaware of the Manuel Ellis case until the death of George Floyd. And then that's when the awareness really built here in Seattle. And it's like, yo, this was down there, in Tacoma. The 3 officers were booked into the Pierce County Jail. Of course, we already know it's a long road all the way into trial, and we'll see where it goes from there. Some people definitely feeling charges should be harder, you know what I'm saying, a higher degree in the charges. And it's a lot of pushback from it's interesting too. It's a lot of pushback from Tacoma, from their police officers union and everything else. Well, I mean, what would you expect from the union? But 14 months to get this. And you remember, this was like peeling an onion, man. There kept being layers. This agency had to recuse themselves. That agency had to recuse themselves. This agency. And so, but it's good that the show, at least this part, is on the road. And that the family, their efforts and, in getting the word out there and amplifying and keeping pressure on this case, it's now moving forward. Yeah. So on the national news, and actually down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, we talked about this, 100-year anniversary of one of America's worst race riots, where the Greenwood neighborhood of Tulsa, Oklahoma was burned to the ground by white people, basically there. This was a thriving, prosperous Black business and residential district there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And what a coordinated effort. The white people there came and burned the whole neighborhood down. They dropped bombs from airplanes. There's hundreds of people killed. So anyway, it's the 100-year commemoration. It's coming up this weekend. And it looks like the actual celebration has been canceled. This is from CBS this morning.
A special event to mark the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa, Oklahoma race massacre was canceled yesterday at the very last minute. We've got new information now explaining why. Hundreds of Black people were killed or injured by a white mob in that 2-day rampage that began on May 31st, 1921. More than 30 blocks of Black-owned homes and businesses were destroyed, and the catastrophe was covered up for decades. Omar Villafranca is tracking the decision to cancel Monday's event. Omar, this was shaping up to be a very big occasion with very big names. What happened?
Good morning. This news came as a surprise to everyone. The event was actually called Remember and Rise and had been in the works for months. And it was going to be held at Tulsa's One Oak Field on Monday, which is the 100th anniversary of the massacre. Singer John Legend, activist Stacey Abrams were set to headline the nationally televised event. Tickets were sold. 6,000 people were going to attend. But CBS News has learned that an attorney for the survivors and their heirs made demands that the organizing commission considered unreasonable. Now, in their public statement, the organizers cited unexpected circumstances with entertainers and speakers. But a commission source showed us an email of demands that were sent on Sunday from a lawyer representing survivors and their descendants. It includes $1 million each for survivors of the massacre and a non-negotiable $50 million pledge to a fund for survivors and descendants. Now, the source also tells us that the commission and the attorney had already agreed on financial terms, but the new demands could not be met, at least in time for Monday's events. And Gail, we spoke to the lawyer about his email. I want to get this correct. He claimed that the commission had not been negotiating in good faith for months and that the survivors had never agreed to be at that big event. Now, the commission is also saying there are other events that are planned. They will go on as planned, and they're hoping they can still mark the day what happened and also highlight the efforts to pay restitution.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know this particular details of this event, but it's crazy because it would be interesting to see, like, who sponsor it, this and that. A lot of times, like in our community, and especially we see this with our elders. We see people go and they'll get a lot of money, they'll get grants or something, and then they'll go and put our people's name in it and make up a part of it, unbeknownst that, say it was a sponsored or paid event and everything else. And I think that, yeah, I mean, the survivors there are basically saying, because this is like Tulsa's way of apologizing and everything else. There's a few lawsuits out there for reparations, but once this moment passed, I mean, America, the country, the spotlight, people are going to be like, oh wow, this is great. John Legend sang, Stacey Abrams talked, and the descendants there whose generational wealth, a lot of these people have been in perpetual poverty. We saw the woman who went to the Capitol the other day, stopped school after the third grade, and and everything else. Man, I'm not mad at these demands, to be honest with you. I don't know if this, if this committee is the people to pay it, but I'm not mad at that.
I mean, clearly there is some real need for repair and repair rations, reparations for the survivors and descendants of Tulsa. That is very clear. I think that what makes it murky is as you're planning an event, right? And you're thinking about this kind of national spotlight, bringing in these big name folks, what is their fee? I can understand why survivors would be like, wait a minute, man, there's, people buying tickets to this, over 6,000 people, and understanding some of the finances around such a large event. I could understand why they would want to ensure that, hey, this is going to the right way. This is going to the right folks who really have been harmed. It's not just a spectacle, and it's not something that's going to kind of be here and then be gone, and the survivors and their descendants are not remembered in the entire thing. I think it is important, and maybe it just got too big. When we talk about tickets being sold and all of that, it gets a little funny, man. I can understand it too, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. And when you're bringing in all these artists, these speakers, then they're writers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I used to do a lot of concert promotion. Ain't nobody hopping on the back of the Spirit Airlines if you're John Legend to go down there. It's a lot of money that's going out, and maybe those resources would be better focused on actually helping the people who are impacted. So, anyways, the big shindig is off, and we'll see what happens next. Want to shift to some local news. It is Feel Good Friday, so we got 3 quick headlines here. In a positive way, the Seattle Public Libraries, we'll go ahead and put this one up. Seattle Public Library to reopen more branches in June and expand branch hours, capacity, and services. And what Seattle Public Library is saying here, the Ballard, Douglas Truth, and Rainier Beach branches will join Beacon Hill, Broadview, Lake City, and Southwest branches in reopening for in-building services. Curtis Delgado was sitting out there talking about he's so happy that it's going to open because, there's a library and you go there to read books. We hope that's what Curtis is doing. But he also, there's meeting rooms there. There's spaces. There's all kinds. There's internet. There's everything else. Seattle Public Library has one of the best systems in America. So it's good to see this opening back up, especially when we're up there, Douglas Troop. It was a long line outside.
Absolutely. And I think that, when we talk about a lot of folks that utilize those services, that's a part of our kind of socialist pieces of this country. And really, there's a lot of folks that need those services. They may not have the internet connections at home. They want to go there and use the printers, go there and use those meeting rooms. And I think it is important that we celebrate the fact that they're opening up. I know a lot of folks on my team have been waiting to dive into the archives and haven't had a really great opportunity to do so online. So there's a wide variety of ways why folks should be excited about that.
All right. Other news here, I know people have been telling you that Seattle is dying and that our soul was MIA and they're looking for our soul. Well, surprise, surprise. We're going to put this one up here. Surprise, Seattle was the fastest growing big city in 2020. And this is from the Seattle Times. Gene Balk, also known as the FYI guy. And I'll just read this right here. New data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows that between July 1st, 2019 and July 1st, 2020, the Seattle had a net gain of about 16,400 residents, hitting a total population of 769,700 people. This means that among the 50 biggest U.S. cities, Seattle is number one for growth in 2020. Now, growth, I mean, yeah, overall, it's a good thing. We know growth impacts us differently. But still, you know, this narrative out here, oh, people hate Seattle. Why would you want to move to Seattle? Seattle's horrible. Seattle's dying. Seattle, number one for growth.
I can tell you this much, anybody who's looking to buy a house right now understands this growth firsthand, okay? I mean, because the ways that we're seeing it in terms of market trends is that, you know, houses are going for way above listing price. They're getting sold in a day or two from getting listed. I mean, the opportunities to showcase this growth in a wide variety of ways for Seattle is there for us that are here for sure. I know I feel it in a multitude of ways. So congrats to Seattle, but let's also think about how we're going to maintain that growth.
All right, one last one here, and we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with Kevin Schofield to talk about the ARPA. This is one that I know Jake Gravbrot could appreciate. We'll go ahead and put this up. Juneteenth, now a free day at Washington State Parks. You know, Jake Gravbrot with his show GTFO, get the, Lloyd Gregory would say, get the fellowship outside. But yeah, Juneteenth will now be a free day for Washington State Parks across the state. Great opportunity. Washington has some very amazing parks across all kinds of different topography, from, you know, from the Olympic National Forest, you know, all the way over in the Eastern Washington and in between. So Juneteenth, you got another opportunity to get into the parks. It's free.
Well, I know that makes you happy as a geologist at heart over there, but honestly, it is a great thing. And I think there are so many amazing parks to explore. I know, shout out to my cousin, December. She takes her kids out there and she's always sharing parks with me. And like, did you know about this one? Did you know about that one? So I've been learning, man. We got some little hidden gems too that are pretty cool.
All right, good stuff. We're going to take a quick break one right now. When we come back, we have Kevin Schofield, the wordy and nerdy, is going to break down this announcement that the mayor made yesterday about where this ARPA funding is going. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. And man, this just tells you how talented Oya is, because right now Oya is directing the show, but in a little bit Oya is going to be over here. Oya D'Alessandro, please bring in Kevin Schofield.
Hey, good morning.
There he is.
How you guys doing?
Kevin?
Hey, Trey, I have to tell you, I was listening to you guys at the top of the show, and I have to share something with you. I am also a proud member of Capricorn Club.
Ah, there we go. Another hard worker right there. Shout out to you, my Capricorny brother.
Just blew it. All right, Kevin. So, You know what we got over here as far as overlays and stuff like that. And so we'll wait for you to tell us to put it up. But the mayor announced this ARPA funding yesterday. It looks like it's a lot of money that came in. It's a lot of money that's going out. So why don't you walk us through it?
Yeah, so the mayor and Council President Gonzalez and the Council Budget Chair Mosqueda announced yesterday their draft plan for how to spend the first part of the federal ARPA funding that they're getting. That's the American Rescue Plan Act. They expect to get $128 million this summer from that. And they're putting a bunch of buckets. So, one of the graphics you have there is sort of the top level buckets that they have there. Yeah. And so they've got in these different 5 buckets. When you start breaking it down, you see, some interesting sort of big spends on things. $25 million in direct aid to individuals. This kind of builds on a plan, on a previous program run by the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. Although the $25 million is supposed to go hopefully to a broader set of people than just immigrants and refugees, but it'll definitely hit that community as well. $28 million to build new permanent housing. And they're hoping to match that with new state funding, also from the ARPA funding, to get to about $90 million altogether. That should build about 300 more units of permanent affordable housing for the city. $15 million for reopening city government. We heard a little while ago, you guys were talking about reopening a bunch of library branches. So that would help with that, as well as parks, arts programs, city buildings. They've got to, retrofit some city buildings to make sure that they're safe, as we come out of COVID. There's going to be about $22 million in stabilization grants for small businesses, for nonprofits, arts and culture organizations, community organizations. And in particular with that, they want to make sure that they get to organizations that may not have been eligible for earlier rounds of COVID relief funding. There were definitely some groups that got left out from those. And then about $20 million in homelessness spending to sort of build on money that was already budgeted from programs and expand them a bit more. Diversion, rapid rehousing, an RV safe lot, tiny home villages, build some more tiny homes and some hotel room space. Now, when you look into this, you see that there's a lot of earmarks for, council members' pet projects and some of the usual suspects organizations that are really close to City Hall. We see childcare, gender-based violence support and prevention programs, direct aid to immigrants and refugees, we talked about already, Stay Healthy Streets, job retraining and apprenticeship. And, those are all great programs to fund. But, one of the issues with this is they're spreading this peanut butter really thin. So, the RV safe lot, that's going to do maybe 25 RVs, they think. And while there's, thousands of people literally living in their cars and RVs in the city, they expect they're going to create about 130 units of homeless shelter. So that's really just going to be a drop in the bucket. About $400,000 for tiny homes, which that might be about, they run $20,000 to $25,000 a piece. That's 16 to 20 tiny homes. So about 300 units of new affordable housing. When you sort of look at that compared to the scale of the big investment, the big issues that we're dealing with in the city, it kind of feels a bit disappointing because it doesn't really feel like there's any big ideas, nothing really transformative. We've heard our city officials, the mayor and city council members saying we want to build back better. But you look through this and it's really hard to see anything that goes, okay, is this building back better? It's all good stuff. It's, and everybody's going to get their little slice of the pie to this. Nobody can come back to elected officials and complain that they were completely ignored. But you really kind of have to ask, is this a missed opportunity to kind of step back and do something big that might make Seattle a little different?
You know what, Kevin? I just love that you usher that in because I agree with you in terms of this being spread very thin. One of the things that has really been coming out from, so many different community groups is, the need for institutions, right? When we think about this federal funding kind of coming in, at the end of the day, what's really necessary is for there to be a sustainable way to ensure that the issues that this money can address is addressed all the time and not just with this drop of money. So I agree there. I'm not sure what they're looking at in terms of how the money will get dispensed. Do you know anything about that in terms of how they may be able to issue this money out?
Well, a lot of it is going to come back to programs that already exist, putting more money into programs that exist. So they don't need to come up with new ways for how this to get out. So I mentioned the example of the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. They've had a COVID relief program that got direct aid out to individuals, and so this is going to be another round of that. So wherever possible, they're looking on ways to leverage programs and avenues that they already have. I think for a bunch of these, there'll probably be RFPs that come out from city departments. But you raise a really good issue, Trey, about sustainability of these, right? And this is an issue for this kind of funding because it's one-time funding. Well, I guess you could sort of say it's two-time funding because next year, about a year from now, they're going to get another 116 million coming in. But for any program that they want to be sustainable for the long term, they're going to have to figure out how to build that into the base budget. And that's one of the questions that I asked the city budget office officials earlier this week when they were kind of rolling this out to the press in a pre-briefing. I said, for the money that's going into things like reopening the libraries or, parks programs, how are you going to make sure those are sustainable? And so they're going to have some work to do in, as they plan next year's budget and the year after budget to make sure that, as revenues start to come back to the city, that they add to the base budget of the city, add back in the funding they need to sustain anything that we want to be anything other than a one-off that comes out of this money.
Some of the, I saw some comments out there from different people running for office, things like that said there wasn't enough of this money spread over to the homelessness side of things. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, in particular, former council president Bruce Harrell, who's now running for mayor, as basically, within a few minutes of this announcement came out, he put out a press release reiterating stuff that he'd said earlier in the week and last week, saying that he really thought that the majority of this money should go to homelessness. And, in particular, kind of coming back to this notion of, are we making any big bets with this, right? Or is this going to be just kind of spread across everything and kind of incrementally try to sort of bring everything back up again?
Well, it's this issue of homelessness as well. Is just like, okay, put resources clearly for people who are experiencing homelessness, but are there any resources there for upstream? I mean, there's quite a few people who are now living in their car, living in their RV, living on the streets of Seattle, where if there was an intersection upstream, they wouldn't necessarily be there. I don't know if I don't want to put you on the spot, but I don't know if that's exactly with former council member Harrell is speaking to or not, or just as far as resources for people who are currently on the street. But that's one of the problems that never gets solved because they never go far enough upstream to solve the problem.
Yeah, and there are programs that the city and the county do. A couple of them, there's a diversion program. That's what they call rapid rehousing, and they're both aimed at catching people just as they're becoming homeless and before they really end up on the street, catching them right then, and then intervening in a way that will get them back into housing, immediately and stop them from ever actually becoming homeless. And, part of what the mayor and city council are proposing here would put a little bit more money into those programs that already exist. I'm just looking through about $6.7 million for rapid rehousing. I'm not finding the diversion. Diversion about 1.3 million. So a little bit more money into those programs, and those programs have actually proven to be very, very effective. So that will certainly help. It's unclear how many people that will help compared to the the 10,000, 12,000 people are homeless in King County, a big chunk of which are actually living unsheltered, on the streets of Seattle right now. The best estimate is probably around 3,800, about 4,000 people living unsheltered on our city streets right now. So, there's a big need. Again, this, what the mayor and city council are proposing is an incremental bit more. There's nothing bad that, but there's nothing in here that will actually solve the problem of that either. We're just kind of chipping away at these things.
Yeah. that's really what I'm hearing, to be honest, is that it's a bit of a chip away and not enough really being done to ensure that, this is really getting treated kind of as a public health crisis, as we've been saying, is really necessary around this COVID and this kind of economic relief right now. Kevin, straight up, I mean, are Black folks going to get any of this money?
Well, I think I think the answer is yes, but it's spread out into so many little buckets that a lot of it is going to be hard to spot. There's some money in here for apprenticeship programs, for job retraining programs, and I think that folks in the Black community will benefit from that. I certainly hope that folks in the Black community will benefit from the direct aid programs. And I can't speak for the mayor or the city council on how exactly they're going to decide to prioritize those as it runs through the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. But from what I hear from them, their intent is certainly to make sure that there's broad opportunities for people to benefit from that. The certainly within the homeless population in Seattle, the Black community is significantly overrepresented. So investments in homelessness programs will help. And in fact, when you look at the data for the homelessness programs they put in place, the people they're serving are also overrepresent Black people. So that there has certainly been effort, in the city and in the county and in local homeless providers to realize that the Black community is overrepresented and trying to address that. But, it is a super hard problem, and the problem is much, much larger than the amount of money and resources that we put into them.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about here because, unfortunately, when I think about something like childcare and it goes like, okay, look, maybe you can get your childcare paid for the last 6 months or, next 6 months or something. But then it's like a drop in that bucket. And then what is that mother or father or family supposed to do in terms of how to sustain it? So it goes back to sustainability for me and also the dispersion. I mean, we've dealt with the fact of there's a lot of harm that comes when we think about this RFP process. And, council and city government, they really have an opportunity to figure out a different way. I think utilizing some of the models that you described there with the Office of Refugee and Immigrants, that, they had a direct way to do, hey, we're going to give it to these specific groups because, again, being plugged in. From your perspective here, Kevin, as we kind of look at how spread this money is, I got to ask you about this impact. At the end of the day, this money is really there to be a rescue plan, right? How much is it rescuing?
Yeah, well, I look at this and, there's obviously the political part of this where they're trying to spread it out enough so that everybody who comes and asks them for money feels like they're getting something out of this. And, I think it's sort of at a bigger level, is this rescue about helping over the next 6 months for the city to get back on its feet? Or is it about building back better? Is it about trying to realize that the city is going to look different coming out of this pandemic? And what do we need to change so that we really are better, so that we're prepared for what the world looks like coming out of this pandemic? And I think it's really more of the former than the latter in terms of what they've got on paper right now, right? This is going to help a lot over the next 6 months. It's going to get some money into people's hands. It's going to get some stabilization grants out into, the hands of small business owners and local community organizations. But, it's going to sort of get us maybe a little faster back to where we were in January 2020. But we're not really, there's nothing really in here I can look at and say, yeah, things are going to look different when we, based on doing this, when we come out of this.
What in there, Kevin? I guess we got maybe time for one more question here. What in there is economic drivers? I mean, a lot of stuff. I mean, of course, which is needed. We talk about a lot of the basically social service programs and everything else. What in there is to be a catalyst for economic drivers? I mean, is there support a lot of our businesses? barely made it through, but they made it through. They're still here, but people need help. These are businesses that employ people. You know what I'm saying? And where are the jobs? Are there any? Or is there anything there in the budget where the city is hiring people, or programs that are hiring people? I mean, people want jobs. People want to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. Small businesses need help to continue to employ people and everything else. Is there something in there for that?
Well, there's definitely a big chunk of money in there for small business grants, and I think that's good. One of the weird political issues in the city is that our elected officials, particularly some in the city council, have really demonized big business, right? And so certainly you look at Amazon, and Amazon doesn't need financial help from the city, and nobody's arguing that Amazon needs financial help from the city. But you look at Holland American Cruises, which is Seattle based. And that is that's a company that's been completely devastated, and they're dependent, not only on the cruise business, but on people feeling safe coming to Seattle to board a cruise ship here, or to get off for a couple of days here, and spend a bunch of money in the local community. And but because City Hall has demonized anything that might be considered big business, there's no money in here that would really benefit sort of bigger businesses that might hire back a lot of people. So it's going to be a lot of sort of small incremental. This small business might be able to hire back 1 or 2 people. This one might be able to hire back 2 or 3 people, rather than sort of larger scale things that might change or accelerate the way that some of the bigger employers in the city might recover. And again, nobody's arguing that Amazon or Microsoft need a financial bailout, but there's a lot of what about Nordstrom, right? Nordstrom got pummeled in and they're a big Seattle business, right? And is there anything in here that would help them recover? No, there's nothing in here, and that may be too much to ask about that, but there is I do think we do need to acknowledge the political environment that's been created in the city that makes it hard for the city to even broach the subject of doing something that might help medium to big size businesses.
Yeah.
All right. Kevin Schofield. Kevin, do you have this up on your website?
Yeah. So I wrote an article about this. Just a couple last thoughts here. So there's got another $35 million coming from sort of more targeted parts of the ARPA funding later this summer. So the city council is introducing, this legislation for this $128 million this Tuesday. They want to get that passed out and done by the end of June, but they're going to come back at the end of the summer and deal with this other $35 million they expect. And then in the fall, as they deal with the 2022 budget, they're going to sort of build in the other $116 million that they expect to get from ARPA funding next year.
All right, good stuff. And people can find you at sccinsight.com. Right?
Yep.
Everything is there. The wordy and nerdy Kevin Schofield, thank you for taking the time to break this down and go through everything step by step. I encourage people to go to sccinsight.com and read up on it more, man. Have a wonderful weekend, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kevin.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, so
Yeah, always great to hear from Kevin, to be honest. And I think that so much of what he pointed out here is what so many other people are saying. Kevin really do be on the money, man. I gotta say.
Yo, I'm saying, like, the amount of time that this guy spends listening to public comment and researching and going through it, it's a lot, but it shows, it comes out in the work. Yeah. And so I always call him up and say, man, what's the breakdown on this? Because some of the stuff they sent out is like 200-300 pages. I can't read it all, but
give us the details.
Yeah, but I really encourage people, sccinsight.com. You go there, you check that out. We're going to take a quick ZYD break right now, and our director is changing hats. Oh, look at that right there. Oh, yeah, D'Alessandro from Trace Leche's band joins us right here on the Morning Update Show.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across the South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We are acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, brown, and indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, brown, and indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Definitely want to encourage you to go to zerojouthdetention.com/work groups. They need your input on how to make a safer King County for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited right now to welcome Olia D'Alessandro of the Tres Leches Band right here to the Morning Update Show.
Hi, everybody.
And so I'm gonna tell everybody, bring up my camera, please, Curtis. I want to tell everybody this. If you appreciate the direction of the Morning Update Show here every day and the commitment here to bring you guys a high quality broadcast, you go ahead and let it be known in the comments how much you appreciate Olia D'Alessandro. Matter of fact, make some noise back there, Curtis. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, Olia.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much for having me on the show and giving me some time so I can talk about a little bit of what I do when I'm not here.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. I think that our audience, I know we're going to talk about the show that you have tomorrow, but I think our audience is probably real interested to know all of these things that you have going on. So you can tell us about you.
Yeah. So it's nice to say hi to the audience. I get to read all of your comments when I'm directing behind the scenes, and I've come to know a few of you, and it'd be great if any of you got tomorrow free. I'm doing a show with my band. We're called Tres Leches, and that's kind of what I do. That's like my passion project, and we've been doing live streams throughout the pandemic, but this is going to be our first show where there's an actual audience where we can play live and actually see faces and in real time and see if we're doing good or bad.
Oh man, bring this back up on wide. So here's the thing is, and this is what's really great about Olia, and it's surprising that you're a Capricorn. You think you'd be a Gemini because Olia comes here into work every day with, so humble, so professional. So, man, I mean, you have so many amazing qualities, but then you shift in, you know what I'm saying? So then you're also, when it's time to rock out, you rock out. You know what I'm saying? You're like, yeah, this band, Tres Leches is definitely one of the biggest bands here in the Seattle area, and actually has a fan base around the world. And also you perform in English and Spanish, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, and that's your style here on the Morning Update Show, and I appreciate it. That is my job to big up you. I gotta let people know this ain't no small potatoes sitting over here. You're a big deal.
Thank you. But it's also like, coming and like sharing with your family and friends.
Yeah, I know. That's what, you know what? Everybody has a cousin they brag on. Like, oh yeah, you know, my cousin, he does this, he does that. So, you know, you're the family member here that we're bragging about today. We got a preview video, you and Martial Law, kind of a preview of tomorrow's show. We'll go ahead and play that now.
What's poppin', y'all? It's Martial Law. And we have a show right here at the Museum of Flight Saturday, May 29th with Safe Sound Seattle. Get your friends, tell your friends to tell their friends, and pull up on us, man.
See, you saw the visual. So now people see what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, tell people, what can people expect tomorrow?
Well, it's a really cool first show to come back to. It is like socially distanced and outdoors under an airplane hangar with just like a ton of airplanes around. So it's kind of a cool event just to even go to just like mingle beforehand and get a drink, and you get to read about all the airplanes. And the show is going to be pretty stellar. We're going to descend from the first 747 ever made. And I got to go inside there when we were running around with Martial Law Band doing the promos for it. And it's like, it looks so weird because it's like where they did all the testing for it. So it doesn't look like a regular airplane.
And actually, I think we got a few pictures when you were out there.
That's true. We do have photos. Yeah. So we'll be doing antics like that, climbing on stuff, very high energy show. And you can see how much fun we had when we were doing these promo shoots. That's inside a space shuttle. It was pretty cool. So we'll it's only going to get more energetic when we're on the stage with our instruments and we're not, I don't know. We'll go into a different headspace once we're on the stage, but there's a lot to play around with there in terms of like descending from the 747 and coming on the stage, and there's like fun things to climb up on, and just lots to do, lots of performance to be had.
This is great. And now you can remind everybody the time and the location.
Yes, it's going to be at the Museum of Flight tomorrow, May 29th. Mm-hmm. Also, I gave Curtis a code that he can pop into the comments, and yeah, he's like, yeah, got you. It's like that's like what I do. Like he's looking the hand say, yeah, got you. But it's it'll give you a discount on your tickets. So check out the comments.
And this is good stuff. And before we end this segment, I let you go and hop back behind the director's desk. You know, it's always good to give people their flowers while they're right here. And I want all of our viewers to know that it's like you make a difference here at Converge. You make us better at Converge. Almost all of this equipment that we have here is all the stuff that you point at. Man, this is what we need. This is what we need. This is what we need. And, you know, I mean, your impact here at Converge, and particularly on the Morning Update show, I mean, you bring tremendous value. You bring tremendous education. You're always teaching us some new stuff here. And most of all, you bring commitment. And I mean, it's an honor and a pleasure. And I'm so proud to not only call you my coworker, but my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, Omari. It's a pleasure and an honor to work with you as well.
Fantastic. All right, you guys, you got to get to this concert tomorrow, you know, so you can see the other side of all of y'all. We're going to take another ZYD break right here. When we come back, Trey Holiday returns to the set. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across the South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We're acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. You know, Trey Holiday, it's Feel Good Friday, and I saw something here, and story out of Kenya. I know you were out there.
Absolutely.
In Mombasa and Nairobi, and I actually used to live and work in Nairobi, Kenya. Great story here out of Kenya. A young scientist is attacking the problem of plastic pollution and recycling there. This is from CBS this morning.
This morning, our series Eye on Earth travels to Africa to learn about a creative approach to plastic pollution that's showing up all around the world. It's called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. I like that. In the Pacific Ocean, contains plastic waste twice the size of Texas. That's big. Kenya is one of the many countries contributing to the pollution. Hundreds of tons of plastic waste are created every day in the capital, Nairobi, alone. That's where Deborah Pata met one young woman who's finding innovative ways to tackle the problem.
This is Dandora, about 30 acres of waste. That's the equivalent of 22 football fields. Despite a pioneering plastic ban, Kenya is still drowning in it. And whilst most people look at this and think it's an insurmountable plastic mountain, one young woman saw a way to move that mountain.
There are days in Kenya when you can actually walk on water. This river is choking with so much plastic, it's formed an unsinkable foundation, a disturbing health hazard for everyone living here, except this young woman.
So I get excited when I see waste because I know that's life for us.
The fact that plastic does not sink is precisely what intrigued material scientist Nzambi Matia.
I came across this concept of using plastic to building blocks.
In 2017, Kenya outlawed single-use plastic bags, but it's still everywhere, clogging drains, polluting rivers, contaminating animal feed. Some of it ends up here in Nairobi's Dandora landfill, which long reached its capacity and was supposed to be closed down 20 years ago. But every day, waste pickers trudge through the rancid trash, sifting for plastic. Plastic that Matia had to figure out how to turn into bricks.
When you made your first brick, how was that?
That was the best day ever. It took us about 9 months just to make one brick.
But one brick wasn't enough. No problem for a woman who likes to get her hands, pretty much everything else, dirty. So she built a machine to mass produce the plastic bricks. First, the waste is sorted to remove rubble and metals.
And then you're going to bake it.
Exactly. Figure, if you know how to make cookies, this is just making cookies.
I can make a brick, are you saying?
Exactly.
The boiling mixture is molded into building blocks, as many as 2,000 a day, 35% cheaper than standard bricks and up to 7 times stronger.
Pretty impressive.
Yep. It doesn't break.
Currently, Matia's bricks are only used for pathways in small households, but she wants to target big construction companies next. Compounding Kenya's fight against plastic is that 2 years ago, the U.S. exported more than 1 billion pounds of plastic waste to 96 nations, including Kenya, and now wants to make the shipment of plastic a condition of a proposed trade deal. Greenpeace activist Amos Wemanya believes Kenya can barely manage its own waste, let alone recycle America's.
It would be importing more problems if we were to allow this US-Kenya trade deal to be used as a way of dumping plastic waste on the African continent.
Matia agrees countries should keep their waste in their own backyards, and she intends to make good on what she calls her triple threat.
The more we recycle the plastic, the more we produce affordable housing problem, the more we created more employment for the youth.
Which means there's no time to get too comfortable. For CBS This Morning, Deborah Patter, Nairobi, Kenya.
Wow, what an amazing story right there. Again, innovation, resilience. When I think about all of the words, brilliance that is coming to mind about this young woman's mission and literally seeing it through, creating jobs for youth, creating affordable housing opportunities with those amazing bricks. You know, when I was in Kenya, I was doing plastic projects. We were clearing out the oceans and clearing out the waters. Man, it is so serious how much plastic is there. And to hear that we as a nation are sending our plastic and trash over there, it is really disheartening, man, to be honest. But I love the resilience of what she's doing there. And I just am glad that CBS was able to pick it up, man. It's a huge story.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many countries around the world. A lot of these deals that are made, people see the top level part of it where it's like, oh, we're giving X number of million or even billions of dollars in aid, but it's a lot of other stuff that goes in there. And trash is one of these things. And you'll find that a lot of countries on the African continent, I mean, they're already being choked with trash. And it was a big deal all across East Africa, banning single-use plastic bags. They're trying to, figure out a way with the plastic bottles and everything else, because there isn't a secondary side that's infrastructure that's in place to deal with all the plastic that's over there. So it's good to see this innovation there. It's Feel Good Friday. You know what I'm saying? And there's some Black girl power. So I knew that you would appreciate that.
Absolutely, I did. And you know what? Honestly, because I've been there in Kenya and saw the mounds, you know what I mean? As I would go through and I'd see these Italian villas that were just spectacular. You're like, whoa, who lives in there? And then, you go down the road and you would see these mounds of trash. So to be honest, it really does my soul some good to see some solutions being built around that issue. Absolutely. Black girl magic for sure.
All right. Good stuff. So last Friday, we were joined by the team at Weird at Night. We got to go on there. We can go ahead and put this overlay up. We want to remind everybody Saturday at 10 p.m. Weird and I checked it out last week too. It was pretty weird.
Yeah. they love to keep it weird. You gotta love that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're passionate in their art and in their visuals and everything else. So want to remind everybody Saturday 10 p.m. and we'll go ahead and we'll put across. They sent another slide too. We weren't able to get it up, but we'll put the lineup.
Yeah.
For this weekend. They're trying to get you on there, Trey.
Hey, yeah, I told them I am so ready for it because honestly, I think weird is the new normal. I mean, as we talk about all of these changing demographics and changing things, this and that, this transformative time, we need to make weird the new normal too.
Kevin Schofield said that Seattle wanted to build back better, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe we can build back weird.
There we go. Up for it.
We'll go that part. Also want to remind everybody this Sunday at 8 o'clock, another episode of Truly Unruly. That is Marcus and Jessica Trufant, their show, Truly Unruly. And man, they be talking about some real married couple issues on that show. Man, it's really dope, man. It's Black love. And actually, we're going to have Marcus and Jessica Trufant back here on the Morning Update show in probably the next week or two.
Nice.
And then we've got to go ahead and hit the jingle, all ya. All right, Trey. Another episode today at 2 p.m. What's it all about?
Absolutely. Twitney Vo came on, you guys, to really talk about the Southeast Peace Coalition and the work that they're doing to bring the mayoral candidates to the forefront. Also, just about the work of Southeast Peace Coalition. Great to get into a great chat with her. You guys are in for a treat at 2 p.m. today.
All right, good stuff. We're overtime, but it's Friday, and I don't think any of our viewers they're not tripping.
Yeah.
But it's time to get out of here. Any last words?
For me, you guys, always see yourself as a part of the solution. Find ways to do it. As we embark upon event season, there's plenty of events that you can get out there too, and just support Black-owned businesses, support businesses in your community. So much of it is about us circulating those dollars and keeping them local. So find a way to be a part of the solution. You can do that by localizing your dollars.
Well, say that then.
Yeah.
Want to remind everybody, next week, Converge Media returns to the Hill, the Capitol Hill. We're broadcasting live from Cal Anderson Park next Monday through Friday. We're open for public comment. So, this is what a year ago, we were sitting up there on Capitol Hill and we were doing the morning update show, and man, people would just walk up. I got something to say. So we're here for all of that. So, if you're going to be in the Capitol Hill area next week between 11 and 12, feel free to drop by, say hi. If you're one of our Converge Media and Morning Update Show family members, you just want to, say what's up, we're going to be out there from 11 to 12 Monday through Friday next week as Converge Media and the Morning Update Show returns to Capitol Hill. On that note, again, Chats with Trey today at 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight. It's going to get weird.
Yes.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Night,
I keep
Saturday.
saying, tomorrow. I'm glad that you're here, Trey.
I'm here. I got you.
I'd be giving everybody all the wrong information. Today at 2 o'clock, Chats with Trey. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Weird at Night. And then, of course, Sunday at 8 p.m., Truly Unruly. Want to remind you to go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until 11 a.m. on Monday, live from Cal Anderson Park. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.